treasure, a fortune in ransom.
I don't care what they want. I'll pay anything.
A mystery in the making.
You don't know anything about this kidnapping, do you?
There's only one man tough enough to intimidate the suspects, smart enough to uncover the clues, brave enough to catch the kidnappers.
Who is that?
Harry Crumb. That's right, the Harry Crumb. Harry Crumb.
John Candy.
Looks like this one can get a little rough.
Who's Harry Crumb?
We continue our dive into underrated movies. What makes an underrated movie? Is this one an underrated movie? Or is it overrated? I guess we'll find out. Let's answer those questions and more when we start the show. That's right. You know what he did? He put another record on.
You need dumb people in horror movies.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unpopular Reviews. I am your host for tonight, the next doctor, but of course, as normal, I cannot do this alone. So let's bring out my co-stars. First up, James.
That's right. I'm new to the show. How are you?
I'm excellent. How are you this fine evening?
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I'm a little nervous.
That's okay. We'll walk you through it.
Thank you.
And adding one more, the executive consultant. Welcome, sir.
You know what? I am not new to the show, but I am also excited and nervous at the same time. Why am I nervous? Because much like you can see Harry Crumb holding on for dear life, that's how I was for the hour and 31 minutes this movie was. Holding on for dear life, figure out was I going to be able to survive watching this hot mess.
Well, we've got Who's Harry Crumb, 1989. 9-year-old me is watching this movie. This is when I first saw it. I first saw it when it came out. And, you know, it brought back some nostalgia. So we were talking about, okay, underrated comedies. I was like, well, this was not talked about that much. And I know I enjoyed it when I was a kid. So I would consider that to be underrated. You know, does it stand the test of time? Does adult me still get that same enjoyment the 9-year-old me did? Well, we'll talk about it. But I'm not going to be the first. So who wants to go up?
I'd like to go. Underrated, whatever Rashad says it means. Now, let me just say this. I'm watching it like Chris. And, even though it said it was on Pluto TV, it wasn't, because it would not play on my TV on Pluto. So I had to go to Amazon Prime and pay for this movie, $3.49. So whenever I think of Harry Crumb, I think of $3.49 and who's going to give it back to me. As I'm watching this, of course, I'm thinking of Ace Ventura. Now, granted, it did come out maybe 5 years later. So, we can't say that Ace Ventura ripped off of we can't say that Who's Harry Crumb ripped off of Ace Ventura. If anything, the opposite. But here's why I would say Ace Ventura is better. Because the movie has these, talking about Harry Crumb, has these tonal inconsistencies. For instance, even in the trailer, it starts off like a very serious drama, and then midway, it's like going to be a comedy and zany and everything like that. When you're watching the movie, John Candy's character, Harry Crumb, who is in the middle of nowhere, but his family is super rich, but we never meet his family. Why is he in the middle of nowhere? We never know. We just are led to believe it's because he's a buffoon. Why is this guy running his company? We don't know. Anyway, he's played Looney Tunes, okay? But everybody else plays it straight. Yet it doesn't work, in my opinion, because if you met somebody like that, you would be like, why am I hiring you? Why am I letting you lead the case on who's trying to find my daughter, let alone even want you on my case? It doesn't make any sense. It makes sense for the people who are behind the kidnapping, but not for the parents, especially when he has wrecked and caused damage to their property countless times over. Now, you compare that to Ace Ventura. when Ace Ventura first goes to the Dolphins, or even the police department, you know, they make fun of him, they mock him because he does things out of the box, so to speak, and everything like that. But he gets results, and he's right like 99% of the time, and they can't stand it because he rubs it in their face. Hence, can you feel it, huh? Can you? He has exorcised the demons. You see what I'm saying? So they can't stand that he's right, but he's actually right. He's competent. He's just zany. So it works because even though he's zany, he's good at what he does. In this one, he's not good at what he does. The teenage girl, even though I think she's supposed to be out of high school, who they keep trying to wedge in some kind of romance there, which is very weird, especially in that car scene. The innuendo is there left and right, okay? She solves the case. She literally solves the case. So later on, when she's trying to invite him on the yacht to the European trip, I'm like, what's going on here? Where are we at? I don't understand what I'm watching. I couldn't understand the Looney Tunes because the merry-go-round broke down. Chris.
I didn't look it up. I didn't look up the movie and this rating. I didn't really hear too much of this movie, so I don't know if it was properly rated. I believe the thing was underrated movie. So, next, Doctor, do you remember what the ratings was for this movie, or the box office results for this movie? Do you know?
It had some mixed results in the box office. It was
mixed. So right now you're telling me it sounds very overrated. Very overrated. Because the fact that this movie got some positive reviews is telling me it was overrated, right? John Candy is a funny guy. God give you all the credit in the world, John. I know you're watching. But I have to tell you that you're a supporting character at best. Lead is not your thing, my man. Lead is not your thing. Thank God Shawnee Smith was in here auditioning for Saul, because I really was happy to see her, doing that. She didn't look as creepy. I'm glad to see certain characters weren't cartoons in this movie, but I can see he's a creep in this movie too, because that's what he does. I was just talking to my friend, coworker earlier, about how you can tell 80s movies because the 80s everybody smokes everywhere. Because let me tell you something. If you step in my office, you would automatically light up a cigarette, you'd be thrown out of my office. But of course, this man's too stupid. I feel like I was watching Idiocracy all over again. Shout out to last week. I feel like I was watching Idiocracy all over again. So much so that I put on the same shirt that I wore for last week's episode. Because it was that stupid. And I feel like an idiot for watching this again, right? That being said, I did chuckle. And I did laugh.
With you and the chuckles.
When he dressed up as an Indian and he went to the air conditioning place. I can't remember what it was, but air conditioning. And the dude said, beat it. He said, maybe later. I have to admit, I did laugh. I have to admit, I did laugh. Because he was brilliant and dumb at the same time. Like, I can see why he says Ace Ventura. When he had the pictures of Creeper and Smokey Lady, Smokey Moore, we'll call her, in bed together, he looked at it, he said, you ain't look at these pictures. And John Candy just sitting there so proud of himself.
Yeah.
Because he caught it. I admit I laughed. But this movie was stupid as hell, Rashad. I'm just letting you know this movie was stupid as hell. Back to you.
Listen, again, as I mentioned, the first time I saw this, and I hadn't seen it since, was when I was a kid. So there were fond memories of me watching this. And, I look back on it as I watched it again, and I'm like, okay, I can see that it is the 80s because of the theming, as you mentioned, the kind of innuendos with the love interest between it had to be a young daughter. I don't even know if she was supposed to be, portrayed as she was of age yet. And, John Candy's character. And, that was like kind of throwing me off. While it was still humorous, even the part that you like, executive consultant with the Indian disguise, It was like, okay, that's a little, you got to give it to.
He kept saying very good,
80s.
very good, very good. Is that what he kept saying?
I mean, you got to give it to the 80s. Like, okay, you got to look at that lens. That wouldn't be something that would pass today. And, I was looking, I was like, okay, I was chuckling as well, but there was a little something off about it. And, I do agree that it was kind of all over the place. As a kid, I'm all over the place. I'm bouncing off the walls. So this was right up my alley. But as an adult, it was kind of hard to get into the rhythm of the movie because I don't think they really knew what they were trying to do the entire time. So, yeah, I will give it that there was some inconsistencies with the flow. But I did chuckle. It is John Candy, and I will say that he is not I think that in this movie, you can see that he really enjoyed making it, regardless of how well it did. I think he really enjoyed making, and I won't say that he's a supporting character. I will say he is a main character because later that year, Uncle Buck came out, and that was a great movie. That did very well.
What are we watching tonight?
Underrated, okay? Oh. Underrated.
Duly rated.
So I will say that he has main character energy, but maybe this one isn't underrated. It's just not that good. We'll find out on our final thoughts right after these commercials. Find out what's coming up next on UPRE.
What does all this have to do with me? I'm a salesman.
What you are is a citizen who's aiding a federal investigation. Every time these guys meet someone new, they're on the lookout for the man.
Excuse me? Hey, just checking for a while, mate.
And you sure as hell don't look like the man.
The man?
The cop. The heat. The popo. 5-0.
You shot me. You dragged me all over town. You used me. I'm now calling the shots.
Oh, so you in charge now. You're the man.
Yes, I am the man.
The man. Michael thought he had it all. The perfect job and the perfect girl. But before they start their new life together, he'll have to meet the parents. Now, he'll enter their home, but before they can become a family...
Aren't you gonna try some of my honey roasted ham?
They'll have to set aside their differences.
So, son, what is it that you do for a living?
I'm a cop.
And learn that love conquers all.
As long as he hitting that spot like he's supposed to, everything is all right.
Who made the potato salad?
And we are back. That's what's coming up next week. The executive consultant's pick of The Man. And potato salad, shout out iPhone for the production value on that movie. So getting back to Who's Harry Crumb, we're going to get to our final thoughts, thumbs ups, thumbs downs. Who'd like to give their thumbs up first?
I'd like to go first. Let me just say that. The next doctor, ladies and gentlemen, he tried to brush it under the rug. I was young. I was a kid. I was innocent. I had no idea when I nominated this movie well into my adulthood. But you know what? Let me quote somebody. Perhaps you've heard of him. We do not forgive. Forget. You picked this movie, and I'll remember that at our year-end review should we do it, okay? Let me also say, look, I don't mind a little racism. After all, you just saw that potato salad movie. No, I don't mind a little racism, ladies and gentlemen. I'm American. So him dressing up as the Indian and I guess the Eastern European with the pube beard, that did make me chuckle. You know what I mean? Because it was so over the top ridiculous that it just caused me to laugh. But for the most part, my eyes just glazed over, much like, let me just go to this to show you what I'm talking about. Here we go.
I think there's been some kind of mistake because the test I took was real easy. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. Okay?
By the end, I was the Secretary of Education. I just wanted it to be over. Okay, I had no idea what I was watching. I said, when does the comedy begin? I didn't know what was going on, but I understood how she became an apprentice to Saw because she's willing to follow anybody, okay? I don't know what's going on, and it's all Harry Crumb's fault. But there was something missing from this movie, ladies and gentlemen, all joking aside, and it was this man. He had it. This is a leading actor. Nothing against John Candy, but he didn't have that it factor. You hear him, Ventura. I heard animals in there. You know what he said to him? Satan? That's comedy, ladies and gentlemen. Because it's so disrespectful to this guy, knowing that you got all those damn animals in there and you haven't paid your rent and you're still going to call him Satan to his face. That takes balls. That's why he got the girl. And who's Harry Crumb? He was going after the girl. But really what it was missing was this, and I sign off with this.
What was that? It was bad. It had nothing, no fire, no energy, no nothing. You know I have a show to run here, you know? And it must pop, pop, pop. So tomorrow from 5 to 7, will you please act like you have more than a 2-word vocabulary? It must be green.
Yes, in honor of Gladiator 2, which Chris says he's already seen, gives a thumbs down.
Executive consultant.
I chuckled. And I chuckled again. And it pains me to say that I did chuckle at this movie and thought it was a lot of funny parts. That being said, this movie is dog shit. And even if it got a 2 out of 10, it would have been overrated. It gets a thumbs down from me.
Oh my goodness, 2 thumbs down. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, I first watched this when I was a kid. Looking back on it, watching it as an adult with adult eyes, yeah, I mean, it wasn't actually underrated. It, unfortunately was just not a good movie. All blessings to John Candy. I have enjoyed plenty of his stuff, leading or not, but this one, unfortunately, it is not anything good. Cannot recommend.
You know what might have helped you enjoy this more? If he wasn't leading.
It would also get a thumbs down for me. Got to be honest with it. Even though it was my pick, got to be truth. So thumbs down. Well, there you have it. Don't bother with Harry Crumb. The lineage stops there. And that's going to be it for our show. For James, for the executive consultant, I have and continue to be the next doctor. And we'll see you next time on Unpopular Review. And don't forget to shove a kid